speaking of the Omar Fatehs and the Zorhan Mamdanis of the world, I have a guest coming on right now. His name is Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. It's wonderful to have you here. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed in the building, running for Senate in Michigan, right?
Yeah, brother.
How would you describe yourself? You're a doctor. You got pulled into this. You got pulled into this situation because there was a lot of injustice happening that you could not stand idly by. It seems
that's exactly right. And I was reading up about your background. I think for all of us who are children of immigrants, you have this experience of seeing America from outside of America, and I think that opens your eyes to a number of things. And the crazy thing for me was that my childhood, I spent a lot of my childhood summers in Egypt. I go 15 hours. I didn't have the language for it at the time, but I traveled 10 years difference in life expectancy. And I didn't have to go 15 hours. I go 15 minutes into the city of Detroit, travel that same gap. And for me, it was personal. My grandmother, wisest person I ever met, she had 8 kids, 2 died before their first birthday. And in Detroit, you have the same infant mortality rate that you have in Egypt. And that for me was crazy. Like the things that I got to go to amazing public schools, vaccinated against diseases that killed my aunt and uncle I never got to meet, and go to public university. And like 15 minutes away, kids whose families have been here for far longer than mine don't get those same things. And for me, the work was all about trying to solve that problem. And so I've set about doing that as a doctor, trained in medicine, realized that our healthcare system is too often part of the problem, and then found my way into public service, rebuilding health departments.
Oh, here, let's watch a video of your agenda so people will get a better understanding of who you are and what you represent.
An all-American story. Public schools, high school.
Wait, also, there's this funny video that I want to show you after as well, but that's later.
Football captain, scooped ice cream, loved his Camaro, lacrosse at U of M, an academic scholarship to med school, Michigan values, and a life of service to Michigan. His name? Abdul El-Sayed.
I know. It's a name built for American politics. My name is Abdul El-Sayed. I'm running for U.S. Senate because in the state that built the American dream, it shouldn't be this hard just to get by. To pay our bills, or afford our groceries, or see our doctors, or get our politicians in D.C. to give a damn about us. Michigan made my dreams possible. I grew up all-American here, became a doctor to help people, and spent my career making government deliver for us. I took on politicians and rebuilt Detroit's health department, got glasses for thousands of kids, helped young moms, and took on corporate polluters and led in our schools. Then I ran the state's largest health department, where we built big things, model programs for veteran services and to protect our kids.
Dr. El-Sayed named Public Official of the Year.
Cancels medical debt for thousands of Michiganders.
And yeah, I'm a bro with a podcast
To dig into the epidemics America's facing.
of economic and health insecurity and the political system that holds us back. Here in Michigan, anything should be possible. We need a little bit more of that Michigan grit and values in Washington. We've got to fight back hard against Trump and Musk with a hell of a lot more than paper paddles and broken promises. They're not the disease. They're just the worst symptom. The disease is the corruption of our politics by billionaires and corporations, while the workers who built this country are forgotten. They've left us with trade deals that have rotted out our towns and robbed our children of their dreams. Students are being snatched off the streets while our democracy crumbles and the politicians don't do anything. That's what's un-American. Here in Michigan, we build. So let's build a bold vision of a government that works for all of us, for healthcare, housing, an economy that includes all of us. My name might be different, but our fight is one and the same, and it's as American as it gets. I'm Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, and I'm running for U.S. Senate.
I mean, you are the most American. You're way, like, I didn't grow up here. You are, as your ad shows, like super American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Football, lacrosse.
I mean, that's the thing about it, man. It's like people tell us all the time, assuming by your name, right? You must feel a certain kind of way about America. I'm like, nah, man, I know exactly what my life was like because I got to grow up here, right? My grandmother, when I used to go to Egypt, she'd point out all the ways my cousins were better than me, smarter than me, taller, better looking than me, wiser, kind of hearted. And then I'd be like, so what do I got going for me? She'd be like, you get to go home at the end of the summer, right? So I know what America gave me. I'm grateful for it. And at the same time, I just think it's important for us to be asking, like, what kind of strength do we want to have in the world? This is the thing I really appreciate about the way you talk about masculinity is that, you don't build strength just to have it and lord it over people who are weaker than you.
Yeah.
Right? You build strength so that you can stabilize and protect. And I feel like if you took that attitude and asked, what should America be in the world? I think that's the best version of us. And I'm asking that means that we protect kids in our own communities and maybe not drop bombs on kids in other places, right? Because those things are one and the same.
Yeah. Every dollar spent on bombs overseas or bombs that we're using overseas is a dollar that could be better served in American communities that are in a state of dire disrepair. And I think there's a universality to that principle that even like Americans understand, regardless of their party affiliation. That's why you see some momentum on like the isolationist side of the Republican Party, where they still obviously have a lot of cynical actors who will say, oh, why are we, giving weapons to Ukraine? We should be using that on the Mexican border or something, which is like insane. You just want a different war. But then there are plenty of people who are actually demonstrating fatigue from the endless bloodshed that's caused overseas. So
that's the thing. Every one of those missiles that gets dropped, $3.5 million. Like, ask yourself, go to a local public school, and go to any of them in Michigan, and they could use $3.5 million of uplift, right? Not to mention the money that you could invest in teachers and parapros and all of those other things. Not to mention all the money you could be investing in infrastructure or healthcare. And instead, we spend billions of dollars. And look, it's not just Israel, right? Like, my family is Egyptian. Egypt is the second largest recipient of foreign military aid in the world. And that money hasn't made the Egyptian people any richer. It hasn't made them any freer. All it's done is it's consolidated the power of...
But have you thought about how important Egypt is to control the Suez Canal and that they have to stay the way that they are?
Yep.
For American interest,
And this is the thing about it, is like, if we were true to our ideals, I don't think we'd have to pay off a military dictatorship for that. Right? Like, if we were honest about the way we engage in the world, like somewhere we went down like Henry Kissinger way, right? And then we got like locked into this realpolitik set of interlocking lies that we tell the world to break our own rules, right? The rules-based international order that we spent all this time after World War II trying to build, right? And then we wonder, like, why is it that we keep finding ourselves spending more and more, getting less and less, and losing respect in the world? Because we spend all this time fighting wars we shouldn't be fighting, right? For what purpose?
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine who works with the Podjohns, and he said that you were doing a podcast with them beforehand as well.
That's right.
How did that work? You were doing a podcast? You're a podcaster?
Yeah, so I host a podcast, still do, called America Dissected. We look at the relationship between health and society. And too often when we think about health, we think about healthcare. What happens inside a clinic or a hospital? What happens inside your body? And more often, the things that shape your health have a lot more to do with our community, our politics. You get to breathe clean air, drink clean water, eat healthy food, walk in your community without being victimized by a neighbor or the state itself. And so actually I got to go on their show when I ran for governor back in 2018. And coming out of that race, I'm like, it'd be awesome if somebody built a podcast on this. And they're like, why don't you do it? So we did, and we've been hosting for a minute. We're independent now, but really just appreciate the opportunity they gave me.
Hell yeah. Oh, do you want something to drink, by the way? I have multiple different sodas back there. Diet Dr. Pepper, cream soda, Diet Mountain Dew. Mostly Dr. Pepper now because Coke is BDS.
And you got protein shake, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I used to be a big consumer of Diet Coke, but since BDS I've had to change it. It's like, I think it was like the thing that I was addicted to the most. What do you think as a doctor? We got...
That's an interesting question you asked. So, generally, if you're drinking the real stuff, don't drink it. I mean, that stuff is like packed with sugar. If you actually saw like the amount of sugar crystals that go into that, most people would be like, that's insane.
Yeah.
The diet stuff, honestly, people will say is probably less healthy, but like, frankly, if you're making the transition and it's that instead of the real stuff, drink the fake stuff. And frankly, like, I'm one of those people who are like, look, they say you don't want to major in the minor. If you're getting the big stuff right, you're working out, you're eating healthy. If you have some diet or fake sweeteners every once in a while, it's fine.
Okay.
So I enjoy it.
That's good. All right. Well, doctor approved. Okay. As a doctor, he's giving doctoral advice. That's how it works.
I'm just, do as I do. Right. So.
So you're pretty brolic. You did a video with Mike Israetel, as a matter of fact.
I think it makes both of us. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
He came here and lifted you. Am I wrong?
Yeah. We lifted together. He said my pecs were small, which was devastating.
He said mine were big, so there's that.
Well, yeah, you also outlift me and many others by quite the margin.
Except for Jamal Bowman, who makes us all look.
Yes.
I mean, like, I remember seeing this video, and he's wearing like this oversized. You don't even see it on him. He's wearing this like oversized hoodie.
Yeah,
puts
pump
4
cover.
plates on, and then just proceeds to do it like 5 times with no problem.
Yeah, I saw you doing 3 plays. You were doing 315, and that was a big point of contention. People were not believing you, but where is it? Let's see if we can find it. We can pull it up. You were duking it out with people in your replies, being like, "You're small, you're not swole, all this." Oh, here it is. You said that's 315, Habibi, to a person who's probably never seen that before.
And then my guy later on the mentions. So the mentions on this get wild, but this guy proceeds to take a picture of 4 plates and some, and he's like, "This is what I do." I'm like, "Okay, video or it didn't happen." I dropped my video in the feed. You could see it right there.
Yeah. Also, a little bit of
That's true.
You know, elevating your hips a little bit to use like some lower back power is fine. Okay. I mean, it's very heavyweight to do that with, but you clearly have a decent control over 315.
Let me defend myself on this. If you're a power lifter, that doesn't pass.
Oh, yeah.
It was not a powerlifting competition. And on top of that, if you're lifting for strength, you want to use some leg drive, right?
Yeah.
Because it lets you maximize the amount of power you can drive through your chest.
Yeah.
And you want bigger weight because that's the point of being able to grow muscle. So I don't know, man. There was a big debate. I'm not a power lifter, never have been, never claimed to be.
Yeah.
But
no, it's crazy. But foreign policing is like #1 on the internet. Number one by people who actually don't even lift, ironically enough. They love foreign policing.
You should be required to submit a video of you doing the same weight to be able to foreign police somebody else.
Okay.
I feel like the internet would be a better place if you did that.
I think you should be required to do that just to speak online. And if you can't clear 225 at least for like a decent 6 or 7, you should not be allowed to have any opinions on whatever I have to say.
I will say this. So I can move that way, and that's not a big challenge for me. Holding like a crane pose in yoga, I can do it for about 15 seconds. It just makes me mad.
Yeah, you're not big into calisthenics.
No, that or like I got mad respect for like different ways people engage in fitness. As long as you're doing it your way. Because like some of these things, I mean, you know, some folks are built for power, some folks are built for flexibility. And like, I feel like if you're not being physically active in the way that you can, then at that point, like, I don't really want to hear it. But I got a lot of respect for folks who work out in different ways. And like, this just happens to be the way that you and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And definitely Dr. Mike.
Yeah. So
have you been to his gym, by the way?
I have not been to Dr. Mike's gym.
It's like worth the trip to Michigan just because that is like when you have that dream gym in your mind. I got a little like basement gym, and my gym does pretty well. It does everything I need. I got my wife who never worked out in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's deadlifting 1.5x body weight for reps, which I'm very proud of. But like you go to his gym and it's immaculate. You have to take your shoes off to walk into the gym. It's definitely like worth a go if you enjoy it.
That's dangerous.
No, it's
that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I mean he's an interesting dude for sure. So yeah, you were doing 315 and people were complaining and saying that that's not 315. I saw in your replies, but here's the video. Let's take a look real quick. That's 3. That's 3 plates.
Some folks haven't seen those interlocking plays before.
Yeah. That's great form.
That's what I thought, man. That's what I thought.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm like at my peak. My arms are too long, and I
was gonna say like it's kind of not the same.
My arms are too long. I'm double jointed, and bench press has always been my weakest. I will never be able to get that.
You know, I'll tell you this.
My deadlifts is my best.
I was gonna say long arms on a deadlift are phenomenal. Right?
Yeah.
I've heard that you deadlift quite a bit. I will say this.
It's not that much for my height and my weight. Like I'm fine. I'm like above average, I would say. I can do like what do? I do like 455 for reps.
Good. How much you weigh?
Now I weigh more because I went to Vegas. I just got back, but you know,
pre-Vegas
230.
230. Okay. I mean, but look, you're like you're almost 2x body weight at this point. Right?
I mean,
that's per reps.
I mean, that's not.
But it's good. I mean, look, I used to like when I was in high school, I used to obsess over these things. I just turned 40. And
That's crazy. You turned 40?
I turned 40.
You're Egyptian, you turn 40, your hairline looks the way that it does. How is that possible?
I got the best genetics for Egyptian.
You got finasteride, be honest. Minoxidil?
All natural, great. I like really just
That's
like
crazy.
really truly just gifted.
Mashallah, mashallah.
But like turning 40 for me was actually a moment. There's this I'm an epidemiologist by training, and there's this curve called a mortality curve, and you use it when you want to compare the outcomes of a study looking at one medication for another. You look at how many people end up living longer, right? I had a friend of mine sit me down and she's like, look, man, like you're just riding a mortality curve. And the higher up you stay on that curve, the better off you are. So if you can show up, move with purpose, do what you can, and you can do it for a long period of time and still enjoy it, like that's winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when you're younger, there's this question, because I played lacrosse in college, right? And you know, I was hitting
That's
PRs.
the whitest
like,
sport.
I know.
I mean, it's like technically indigenous, but like it's played most frequently by the whitest of people.
Truly, and like
crazy.
Culturally, like it was. We'll just say I went to college 2003, 2007.
So you were playing lacrosse while people were like, you know, the white people were the most Islamophobic. Yeah. Up until recently.
You got to imagine it was not. Traveling was tough. We'll just put it that way. Traveling was tough. Learned a lot about people traveling. But like I was hitting PRs in college, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm never going to hit my PRs again. And so for me, it was kind of frustrating. I was like, I'm never going to be able to.
A little bit of sauce, just between us. A little bit of sauce.
So max bench in college?
A little bit.
So max bench at 450, max.
Okay, you
squat at 600.
You were not.
I'm a short guy.
saucy.
I'm like 5'8".
Okay,
and never.
No medical enhancement.
No.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
That's crazy.
It was like early 2000, man. If you wanted to do that, you have to like. It was not as safe as it would be now.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of it is to say I'm never going to be as strong as I was. So like finding how to stay strong and like enjoy it. That's
what about TRT? Okay, so let's talk about healthcare real quick, and then we'll get to the most important aspect of healthcare. So you're a big part of your proposition, a big part of what you like, why you are running is because of access to medical care and Medicare for all.
That's right.
So would you put a bill down that dictated that everyone could get free TRT?
I mean, if you need it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like if
I
you need it,
because I'm not swole enough.
I mean, the line between so TRT technically is testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
So the question of replacement has a lot to do with like high point at what you could produce naturally.
Yeah.
And the line,
like a
I got a lot of friends who are like at this age, they're like, yeah, I'm on TRT. I'm like, how much? They're like, you know, like 1,500. I'm like, that's not replacement.
Yeah. That's
but I actually, honestly, part of me is like, do you, man, at this point, like, do you?
I'm just saying, like, imagine that would really be like the RFK agenda. He's like talks about MAGA,
that man
make
is
America healthy again. Which, by the way, he does TRT.
Absolutely. I mean, way more than TRT. That man is just straight up on gear, like straight up.
He does gear. I think he also does something that like makes you. I forget what it was. It might be like peptides or something that makes you orange too. Like that weird skin condition.
That's
you
just
don't
like spray
get.
tan, man. Just spray tan.
I don't think it's just. Well,
you don't think so?
No, he's not a spray tan guy. Are you kidding me?
That's
He's
fair.
definitely like a natural.
Except for you saw him house at McDonald's when Donald Trump made him do it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, that didn't look like a man who's never eaten McDonald's. That looks like a man who knew exactly what he was eating.
Yeah. So I thought, you know, when I voted for Donald Trump illegally three times, okay, I'm sorry. I thought RFK Jr., as the HHS secretary was in charge of the FDA and everything else, he was going to make TRT readily available for all people. And I'm a little disappointed he has not done so.
Medicare for all. Just saying.
Yeah, Medicare for all, free TRT, free HRT in general for everybody.
If you need
That's what I think.
I'm just saying, if you need it, you know, this is qualified medical training. Here's the interesting thing about it, right? The same people who go crazy about anything having to do with gender care, right? Ask yourself what TRT is. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
100%. That's why I like Joe Rogan and them when they like constantly chirp about trans people and like hormone therapy. It's like, bro, you're doing that. You know, he should have done. I'm on it.
TRT is gender affirming care.
I do gender affirming care. I take DHT hormone blockers for my hairline. So that is gender care. Technically, it's hormone therapy, and it's perfectly fine when men do it because they want to overcome male pattern baldness. But you know, God forbid, God forbid someone who's trans does it, you know, it's like not allowed, or the same people that do TRT, of course. Speaking of which, I've been on a almost 48-hour fast at this point because I just got back from Vegas and I was not very hungry because I ate like a monster, and I've lifted, fasted. Do you lift fasted?
I do.
Okay, me too. I can't lift when I eat.
It's just
I've
you
gotten
get a
so
queasy
used to
feeling.
it
Yeah,
after
yeah.
years.
What do you lift? Morning, evening?
I lift in the mornings.
Morning, yeah, same. That's the thing. Part of me is just like, if you try to eat, then you try and lift. Your body's like, what are you doing? This is too much. I figure it's either eat or lift. So
Yeah. So we're gonna order some food.
let's do it.
So hold on, I'll get it from this place because it's closer. I get chicken. I want you to go through my daily consumption as a doctor, and tell me if this is like, because I weigh my chicken as well.
Good for you.
I get the chicken tavuk here. Hold on, and I'm gonna give you the thing after, so you can pick what you want.
So this is your first meal in 48 hours then, huh?
Yeah.
Are you feeling hungry now?
I'm pretty hungry, but don't show it the camera, by the way.
Yeah, no, I
Make
get it.
sure.
I get it.
We're eating Middle Eastern cuisine. Show the doctor your 335 squat. Dude, it's not good. It's like embarrassing. That's not heavy.
That's good, man.
It's not heavy. It's not heavy enough. My squats are terrible. My knees are terrible. I got a laparoscopic surgery on my right knee. I had a patellar dislocation. And then that, like, I guess in the process, it like ripped off a chunk of, I don't know. I think it was like ripped off a chunk of the bone, and it was just like swirling around in my knee for years and years. And then I got this like not super invasive surgery. Laparoscopic surgery is not that bad.
No.
And yet I was never able to recover fully from it. And now it's just like, you know, I got a lot of issues. It's
So
as a,
but look,
33-year-old, 34.
You're 33. You have the like height and flexibility of Gumby. All right. And you're putting on muscle, and you're doing 300. This is what, 1.5x body weight? Almost. That's like 1.4x body weight.
Yeah.
That's great. I feel like people get so focused on the numbers, man. It's like, you know, if you feel good about how you're moving, let's see it. Are you an ass to grass kind of guy?
No. Wait,
Okay,
first one is not the best. First one's
Okay,
not the best. Hold on.
So just warm up.
This is my top set. That's why.
That's good.
I mean, it's all right. It's
I
not
mean,
great.
if I had to tip it, yeah, I mean, you already know what my tip would be. Right?
What? Go deeper.
Like, yeah, there you go. That one was good because you're going to 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So once you get to 90 degrees, I mean, you're there. How do your knees feel when you go that low?
Not great. That's why I have the
That's
knee
the hard
wraps
part. Yeah.
on.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying. It's just not.
I lost it. Sorry, man.
Oh wait, hold on. I got you. It's too. Wait. Oh, do you want the chicken tavuk?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Salad, it's perfect.
Tabbouleh salad. And then what? Okay.
Also, I mean, it's
Just that? You don't want anything else?
no, we had a family wedding, which is what I'm here in LA for. So we had like a lunch this morning. They had like I've never seen this before, a mobile Brazilian barbecue.
That's awesome.
Which is phenomenal. Like truly someday goals in life, have a mobile Brazilian barbecue.
Get a live autism diagnosis. We don't have to do that. I already did the RAD score. Also, you're an epidemiologist.
I am.
Yeah. He's not like a
my wife in here, she's a psychiatrist.
He's not a psychiatrist. Can you ask him what he's a doctor of? I just did. I just told you what he's a doctor of. But yeah, my knees are dusty. I play too much basketball on.
You still play?
Yeah.
Here's my question. What's your goal?
pavement.
Like big picture for you? Like, let's say you're my age, maybe a little bit less than 10 years from now. What do you want to be able to do?
I want to be able to dunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing like plyo training on top of it?
Not. I was for a while. I haven't really been doing too much plyo training. Right now, I'm all over the place because like I've just been my schedule has gotten
Insane.
destroyed.
Yeah.
So, but I was right now in the short term, I got to go back down to 220 because I've been just like packing it on. My dad was here, and when he's here, he's a feeder.
Yeah. I feel like all our dads are.
You know how men of parents are. Like
they can't talk to you about your problems, but they'll feed you the hell through them.
He got a gastric bypass.
Okay.
To literally survive because he was like 500 pounds. He's crazy.
Wow.
My whole family's gotten gastric bypasses except for me, and he can't really eat that much, but he loves to just like get as many pastries as possible in the house, and he'll just like eat it in front of me, and he'll be like, "Oh, you want some?" And then I just like when he's here for like 2 months, 3 months, I just keep packing it on.
I know that's the
and then he leaves, and then I have to, and then I lose all the weight.
This question, I told you about turning 40. So like my last campaign, I gained like, I don't know, 30 pounds. We were eating like Happy Cola and ice cream. And this is the way I was handling the stress. So during the pandemic, that's when I built this garage gym. We bought a house, built a garage gym.
Yeah.
And at that point, like I had a really unhealthy relationship with working out, in large part because it was just always outcomes driven. And I had to get to a point where I'm like, all right, so what are my goals here? Like what am I actually trying to do? And once I articulated the goal, then it became a lot easier to be like, okay, like I can optimize around that. And it's not awful if I miss a day. It's not awful if like, one day I'm just enjoying a meal. I'm going to enjoy that meal. But like it helped me get to a sense. So that question of like, what do you want to do in 10 years? I think if you can always adjust that like every year, what do I want to do in 10 years? That's the key thing. You do cardio?
Yeah.
Right,
but that's why I do that's why I play basketball. Because it's like, I can't run. I hate running.
Unless you're chasing a ball.
Yeah.
Which is the way all of us are programmed.
But it's the best cardio basketball is. The only problem with basketball is like, it's horrible on your joints.
Yeah.
And when you're playing out there, sometimes like you have like a really aggressive defender who will foul you, and then you'll like, I rolled my ankle.
Yeah.
And
you got to rehab forever.
Yeah. And then the more you roll your ankle, the worse it gets. So it's just like, now I've just been nursing that nonstop.
You ever bike?
No.
You might like it.
I used to when I was younger. I don't really like it. All right. Well, here's something I wanted to show you. This is a real plague that I'm sure you have experienced as both a podcaster, but also a doctor as well. Someone says epidemiology is a hoax science anyways. They don't know shit. Hoax science anyways. They don't know shit. You're a baboon, dude. Not even a baboon, because I feel like even a baboon would be like, there's disease, I think, here. I should move away. You, on the other hand, are rushing towards the disease. What do you know? You're a Twitch commenter, dude. What are you talking about? What happened to the universe, dude? All technological advancements, academia, the field of research, scientific discovery, cast it aside. Throw it away. Look alive, gentlemen. There's an American here. People just straight up, they go, excuse me, thousands of years of research, ain't never seen a guy like me before. All of the experts are stupid. You're not even literate. Shut the up. Americans unironically think they know better than like people who have poured their entire lives into this shit. So much of the shit that you take for granted is unironically experts working tirelessly behind closed doors so you don't get trichinosis from the meat that you're consuming, but you just take it all for granted. You know nothing. Like, I don't know what a germ is because I can't see it, so it's fake.
We needed this. Like, you've spoken all the things that epidemiologists have been thinking for at least since the beginning of COVID-19.
Yeah, it's just there is a real thing that angers me with there is definitely an anti-intellectual slant that has always existed in like historic fascist movements as well, certainly, but like lately I feel like it's gotten way crazier online, and I don't know how to deal with it. I mean, we got the Nelk boys, who I know personally, who I spent the other half of today's stream talking to, interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu. That's a real thing. Do you know the Nelk boys?
I know of the Nelk boys. Don't know them personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't assume you knew them personally, but yeah, they interviewed Benjamin Netanyahu.
Why?
And my question exactly, like how we have devolved so spectacularly that like you got international war criminals going on podcasts to do to basically, I guess, do rehab on their image.
I mean, I guess you could ask them the hard questions. Are they asking them the hard questions?
No, they were just like, are you guys starving Gazans and children in Gaza? Yeah. Oh, This one banged on Twitter already. They're using you guys to look good.
Hassan, bro. Why does anybody, Hassan? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Hassan, anyone goes on a podcast to promote whatever they're doing. We're aware of that.
They're not. But Benjamin Netanyahu's not promoting a book, dog. He's promoting a genocide.
Bro,
that's the point.
OJ.
Then yeah. So that's the situation in front of us in terms of like public discourse. That's where we're at this point. But the other thing that I wanted you to look at was not the Nelk boys necessarily, because who knows? I mean, you're doing the bro slant right now.
I'll go on.
Maybe the Nelk boys will have you on. I'll hit him up and be like, yo, here, talk to this guy instead. He's a bro. Not that they lift. They don't really lift. Only Bradley Martin lifts there. And
Bradley and I can get a workout. Then we can talk to the rest of the Nelk boys.
Yeah. But there is one other thing that are you a big Twitter user?
Ish. Honestly,
Okay.
man, like, here's the problem I have with Twitter. Every time I go on it, it like pickles my brain a little bit. And then I have to come back off of it. I ask myself, why did I even go on it again? And then inevitably somebody says something stupid shit, and I find myself back on it. And then I have to go back through the whole revolution again. It's like I don't learn, but
I'm the same way. That's why like I will consistently, I'll delete Twitter from my phone, and I'll only be forced to download it back when I'm like traveling and I have to communicate with people like journalists and whatnot. But one thing that I've noticed especially is that it's just so negative.
it is.
It's just so negative. It's so awful. It's obviously like you determine what your For You page looks like and what you engage with and what you read. And I guess I'm reading too much, Nazi shit that angers me. So it's like what's polluting my For You page. But then also, on top of that, what I've noticed is Twitter also will just like serve me the dumbest videos, and it's all botted.
Yep.
And it's all like, here are some easy hacks. And I just like, even when I'm scrolling and I spend like 30 seconds on one of those videos, I catch myself watching that and I go, what the f am I doing? I just wasted 30 seconds of my life.
Or like the highest
and it
intensity
pisses me off.
Like a high intensity theme or scene from some movie that you're never going to watch.
Yes.
You getting those?
Yes.
Damn.
All
And
the
then you
time.
always watch them.
All the time. And I hate it. And I feel stupid. I feel like a bot. When I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, it's just like they have these clip bots.
Yeah.
Like, they're just constantly pumping excerpts from a Hollywood movie with like an AI voice being like, and then this person did this, and then this person did that. And I like, when I spend any time, and there's always a line on it too. I don't know why. They always have like the weird line on it.
Because I think that way it doesn't violate any of
copyright?
the copyright laws.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then the voice does the same thing. I'll be honest with you, like, I will say this, like Twitter has become so much more garbage, but if the goal is engagement, whatever they've done to like grokify it, so it feeds you stuff that reads your limbic system and keeps you on, I will say like the experience of reading Twitter has become way weirdly more engaging. I don't love it. It's like engaging in the worst possible way.
Yeah. It's like, it's tickling the lowest common denominator, attention seeking part of your brain. I don't know what it is. It's so annoying.
Weird scenes from mid-2000s movies that you're never going to see.
Yeah. Honestly, at first, I was annoyed because it was like constant, insane right-wing Nazi shit. And now I'm annoyed because it's also anything that's not constant rage bait is just content slop that is like movies and things like that. And they're both bad. I feel like it just makes me dumber when I go on it. Like back in the day, this was my primary mode of like figuring out what was going on in the world. Journalists were breaking their stories on this goddamn platform. They were doing investigations. They were writing, people were writing thoughtful things on this platform. And now you have to scroll and refresh 1,000 times for you to reach like one readable, one legible thing that actually gives you any sort of insight into what the is happening on the planet. It is so goddamn annoying.
You know, Hasan, I'll tell you this. I was one of the first 10,000 people on Facebook. All right. So like 2003, it shows up.
Damn.
Still says Mark Zuckerberg production on it. And it used to go to colleges, right? So Michigan was the first colleges that it went to. And it's funny because I got a little brother who's about your age. And I got a little sister who's 15 years younger than me. So she's like 8 years difference from you. And it's interesting. Obviously, I'm an epidemiologist. If you like set up like a case study, you can kind of see the impact that it's had to have more of your youth on these kinds of platforms. But I'll tell you, man, like I don't have much going for me. I used to have a really, really good attention span. I could read for like hours and hours. I could play Legos for hours and hours, whatever it was, I could do for hours and hours. And now I think I got 17 minutes. Like that's about as much as I got. And it's this stuff that's got you constantly tripping out on trying to reach for that next thing, the next buzzer, the next feed, whatever it is. And honestly, like I say this as somebody who got through all of, like I turned 18 before social media happened, right? And so I can't imagine what it's like for folks in your generation, for even younger. It's crazy.
Oh, the AI too. There's so much cognitive offloading taking place where people are just basically like delegating tasks that normally their brain would do to artificial intelligence, like LLMs, and they think that it's making them smarter, and they don't realize that it's making them dumber, because it's the difference of like I see so many, and Twitter plays a role in this as well. There's so many like viral threads where some dumbass with a blue check mark on Twitter will be like, I just input 8 different books into ChatGPT and I just read the summaries. And it's like, okay, if you went to the bookstore and read the back of the 8 of those books, you would get probably more information.
We had that before, bro.
But even then, like you didn't read 8 of those books. You didn't even cliff note it.
No, just think this through. So a PhD is the process of writing a set of studies. And the reason that you have to do it to become a quote unquote expert in an area is because you learn a lot when you actually climb through the labyrinth of having to think through the study itself. And I think in our generation, we've mistaken information for knowledge, and then we're mistaking knowledge for wisdom. And the hard part about it is we throughput a ton of information, but we don't spend that much time marinating on it. And that's where the experience really is. I'll be honest with you, like the thing I'm really scared about is there's a lot of AI encroachment in medicine, right? And you see it happening all the time. And there's a reason we call medicine a practice, right? Because you kind of have to practice. And there's going to come a moment where people have relegated too much of the thinking to AI, but you haven't really thought through the difference between cases that might present a certain way. Like we talk about horses and zebras. And the reason you pay a great doctor, what makes a great doctor is their ability to tell a zebra from a horse. But if you're giving the AI constantly the ability to make that decision for you, you're not going to have spent enough time thinking through the process yourself to be able to differentiate yourself. So at some point, we keep saying, oh, well, we want humans on the loop to make sure that they can like relegate the AI. But like you assume those humans have actually done the thinking.
Yeah.
And over time, if you're just not thinking through your cases, you're just not going to be able to do it. And it's going to happen across all these different fields over time. And I just shudder to think about what that reality is going to look like.
Yeah, it's truly terrifying. And what's even worse is that there's a lot of people, especially growing in this environment, that thinks like, no, you're stupid. You're a dumb boomer for thinking that my mind should be doing this when I can just like let the machine do it. You know, and there's even people in my community, they get mad. They say I'm a boomer and I'm anti-AI. I'm not anti-AI. I just think that there are certain tasks that it's good for your brain to use. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Turkish, but like we had calculators when I was growing up. They wouldn't allow us to use them. We had to use like we had to use our brains to multiply.
The other thing I'm really worried about is just the incentives behind AI, right? Like there's a world in which you build the tech, you're really thoughtful about where you deploy it. It really does deliver a world where like a lot of the hardest things get easy to do and people get their time. The problem though, is that all of these AI companies are on a 7-year VC cycle. And that 7-year VC cycle, those VC companies expect to have a return in 7 years. And they're going to pick the lowest hanging fruit. And the lowest hanging fruit, guess what, is your job.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it is like, you think about, in the last...
Not my job.
Not your year. You're not,
no,
well, I mean, I'll just say, man, like all of our jobs at some point, right? Like as a creator, it's a pretty crazy thing that you've got like AI that can make a podcast out of
they have it. They have it. They can do my job too. Like I didn't think it would happen this fast, but that's truly a thing that's happening.
And like, you look at the numbers of kids graduating college and you're starting to see fewer kids get placed. Like what, Harvard Business School couldn't place 20% of its kids? That's pretty crazy. That's a crazy thing. And so, and the funny thing is like, you'll ask the AI companies and at the same time they'll say, yeah, we're producing AI coworkers. And they'll be like, but we're not really responsible for all these kids who can't get jobs. And you're like, there's a clear mechanism. It's clearly how you're trying to sell your technology.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the other crazy thing. I mean,
yeah, they're using it as a mechanism of labor displacement,
Exactly.
which is how all technological advancements work under capitalism. So the problem is capitalism is not technological innovation.
I will say this, right? Like there's a world in which you could say the tech placed in the right place under the right incentives could be great, right? The problem right now is actually not even capitalism, it's corporatism, right? It's like if you're a small business, right, there's an opportunity for you to say, listen, like I see the people I work with, and actually as a member of a local community, delivering a service in the local community, employing people in the local community, like I don't want to displace these folks. As a corporation based in Delaware whose CEO lives in Washington, D.C. or California, at this point, you're completely dislocated in the first place. So it's just a labor bottom line for you. And, you know, I just think that there's an opportunity we have to like try and get much more local to try and take the problem on, and then, you know, regulate the use of AI in corporate work. I mean, like the idea of a 32-hour work week, it's a buttress against AI. It's basically saying like, instead of you displacing 20% of your workforce with AI,
let them work less.
Exactly.
Now that you have more technological innovation. Yeah. Well, that's, you know, exactly. That's just the profit incentive.
Yeah.
People putting the interest of profit over the interest of people.
What's your sense on where this all goes?
Nowhere good.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to like actually be able to regulate it in any real way?
No, 100% no. I don't think so. I think America is a hellish libertarian dystopia, and it's going to become worse and worse. It is nightmarish already, and it's getting only worse. Now you have a global hegemon that is actually a competitive superpower against the United States of America and is slated to actually overtake America in terms of like manufacturing. It already has. China. So that has, I think, caused even more panic among American investors and American capital and American politicians in general. And instead of trying to redouble our efforts onto R&D and investment, fixing our infrastructure, making sure that we have the proper educational infrastructure and a better positioned labor force, we've decided to just completely accelerate in the opposite direction, in the wrong direction. I mean, the big beautiful bill obviously took away incentives for all green energy, renewable energy at the behest of fossil fuel production, because China now has a monopoly on renewables.
This is the thing about it.
There's a massive brain drain happening in reverse as well. Ironically enough, I mean, you're here, like I'm here. We are quite literally a byproduct of that brain drain, and yet now America is doing the exact opposite, where they're like, don't come here. We're fine with whoever we have. And if you come here, we're going to throw you in jail. If you come here, we're going to make your life miserable. And that is destroying the American future, like 100%. And I think these guys are too stupid to recognize that. I think
they know exactly what they're doing. I think, if you look at a Peter Thiel, right, and you look at I don't know if folks saw the clip of him on Ross Douthat's show on New York Times, like, they think that instead of having the smartest people from all over the world want to come here and build here, that they're going to be able to offload all of the actual thinking to a few corporatists based out of Silicon Valley, armed with armies of AI. And to your point, right, like there's a choice that we have to make. We should have made it like 5-10 years ago about what kind of future we actually want in America. Like what you described of this, like this libertarian techno autocracy, that is a possible end outcome. I'm like, if you think about dislocating labor, especially middle income and high income labor, you're now talking about like this new sort of kind of serfdom that they're all envisioning. But like, we got a choice, and we got a choice to make really, really quickly. And my point to everybody who's looking at our political cycle, we get caught up in the horse race. If your candidate is not talking about AI like 25 to 35% of the time, they're not serious about governing, right? Because AI is the way in which they dislocate capital, ergo unions, ergo all of that productive potential equalizing force in American politics from the political system. And like they see it coming. That's part and parcel of the goal. And we got a choice to make about how we stand up and regulate this like right now. We should have done it 3 years ago, but it needs to be happening like right now.
But we're moving in the opposite direction of what we're supposed to be doing. And it's the same with, like I said, all the initiatives like redirecting resources back to fossil fuel production rather than renewable energies to try and at least make a dent in the global marketplace. We've just completely given up on that. I think we would rather flip the table than allow anyone else to win the game of Monopoly. And that's, it feels like it's scary to admit, but I feel like that's in the direction that we're heading.
Yeah, Hasan, I'll tell you this, man. Like, I'm still a bit of a, there are so much about what the decision making in our country has left us with that is so damn frustrating. But I still, I spend a lot of my time in Michigan talking to folks who are trying to live honest lives. And I just wish more folks understood the decisions that were being made in their name. And I think if we can, in our politics, and maybe I'm Pollyannish about this, but I gotta believe in it. Like, if we can connect those folks to what is both happening and what could yet happen, I just think that there is a way for folks to come together around something that's still better. Now, I don't know. A lot of folks have closed the door on that, and maybe just running for office is an act of hope. But like, I actually get to see people in their living rooms and like go to their union halls and talk to folks. And like the vast majority of American people are really good people. Like, they believe in the idea of America, and they believe that if you work hard and try to advance and try to be good to your neighbors, that things can be better. And I just think that like the more we make our movements around the opportunity to build something together, the better chance we have at succeeding. But I'll be honest with you, man, like, it looks pretty bleak from where I sit.
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of people would say that someone like myself or someone like Zohran Mamdani or Omar Fateh or many other people like AOC even are actually, they're anti-American and they want to destroy America, not realizing that like the progressive left, the socialist left, like these are the last remaining hopeful people in American politics that haven't completely given up on the nihilistic, like completely given into nihilism, and are just trying to make out as much as they possibly can and trying to basically pick apart the carcass of America for scraps.
Yeah.
It's so transparent that like the Trump administration is doing exactly that, and it is destroying what remains of like labor power that this country has, what remains of like some semblance of upward social mobility that this country has. And yet people obviously still hyper focus on these culture war issues and find themselves because they find themselves at the mercy of anger and resentment based politics, because one side recognizes that there's a lot of anger and frustration in the base, the Republicans that is, and then they redirect that attention back to marginalized groups that are vulnerable populations that are easy to attack and easy to legislate against.
Yeah.
And the other side doesn't do any of that, where they don't even like focus on the resentment or frustrations that Americans feel. And when they're in power, they say everything is fine, and they just keep pushing for incremental change, but not really, and even then not fully on board with that incremental change, where they cast aside any sort of like any semblance of like real legislative agenda. They allow the party itself to break apart some of these bills, right?
And to your
without
point,
whipping votes in the direction of like what is necessary.
I hate to say, like, the Democratic Party writ large too often is bought in on the same system of destruction. They just do it in a different way.
Yeah.
If you're still taking corporate checks from the likes of health insurance or big pharma, do not tell me that you are excited about the future of America. You are actively engaged in the, I hate to say, like the fracking of the American public for what they're worth. Like, if you're willing to take money from a corporation that raises rates on people, I mean, just think about like what a health insurance premium is. You're getting your paycheck literally garnished every 2 weeks to 4 weeks, so that you have the privilege of paying another $3,000, $4,000 to get the healthcare you thought you already paid for. It's a crazy, crazy thing. And the hard part about it is, it's like, you can't tell me that you're the opposition party if you're not dead set against taking on the corporatism that has driven Trumpism and created the pain that he manifested to be able to get to power, right? And like, I just think that at this point, like, this is a break glass moment in democracy. And if you're not looking people in the eye, right, and being completely honest about the way the system is absolutely crushing them, you're missing the whole point.
I think it's really inappropriate that you are not taking into consideration the GDP here for private healthcare providers have done an incredible service by being a shitty middleman that doesn't need to exist, that doesn't really exist in the same ways, that the nefarious ways that it does on an inelastic demand good.
Exactly.
In other countries, and therefore their GDP suffers as a consequence of that. So
if you could artificially inflate your whole sector so it's like 20% of the entire GDP, and then say we're upholding the GDP. Yeah, I guess you're making a good
they're
point.
Holding it. They're holding it together by being a costly, bloated middleman whose job is not even to lower costs, and in many instances directly increases costs because of corporate consolidation, because of horizontal and vertical integration, where they then become pharmacy benefit managers, and then it's literally in their best interest to rise up prices.
It's like they figure out how to grow more middlemen out of themselves.
Yeah.
Like PBMs are a creation of the pharma industry and the health insurance industry. Like that's what they are. That's what they've created for themselves. And we're all living in the world that they created.
Our food is here. Speaking of nihilism, you're hopeful, you're optimistic about the future of America.
I gotta be, man.
But what you fail to consider is that I'm going to give you so much brain rot that it's going to make you incredibly nihilistic about the future of America, because we are going to. There's a channel called Jubilee. Are you familiar with this channel?
I unfortunately have become.
I used to have a blockade.
Settlers from the 1500s.
I used to have a blockade on the the channel called Jubilee. This has 3 million views in one day.
My family.
Friend of the show, Mehdi Hassan, went on this one progressive versus 20 far right conservatives, and we're going to watch some of this as much as we can take while we eat. So at least there's a little bit of good here. You're going to be eating some Middle Eastern food, but then you're also going to be watching this brain rot together, and hopefully try not to get black pilled challenge.
I feel like if this is brain rot material, it's like the best version. I'm not gonna lie. Mehdi always raises the bar for all of us. So
I know, but
they got 20 folks who are trying to bring the bar way down.
No, the bar is low. And I was talking to him earlier, and he's like, "This is." He said something along the lines of like, "If this is America's political future, this is a disaster." He said it's a freak show, and he's right. It is a freak show. I have long talked about how the American political youth on the right have become completely and utterly removed from like whatever the old conservative methods were, where they are just actively and openly far right, openly Nazi, openly fascist. And I think this Jubilee is a little taste of that, where if you're under the age of 35 and you're like, I'm a far right conservative, like you're a fascist. And many of these guys will just say that.
They're willing to
the police force in Washington, the left.
Yes. Are you kidding me? The left? Are you insane?
Police officers.
Look at LA right here. You think those stand down?
You know what this is?
You think the LAPD are a bunch?
Yeah.
Were they local or were they national?
These guys, I don't know, but the cops they've never been on the left. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, there's.
Cops in the United States of America have historically voted overwhelmingly for Republicans. There's never been a case where, like, the ones that don't vote straight ticket Republican will usually be libertarians, which is even funnier, because like the principle of libertarianism is supposed to be like that you're anti-cop as well. Like the state has a monopoly on violence, right? But like you're the guy who has the monopoly on violence. You're the jackbooted thugs of the state. So shocking that this guy said, did the cops, the Capitol Police that famously brutalized like disabled Medicare for all protesters in the halls of the Capitol, they're actually leftists.
It's because anybody who opposes, I mean, this is the thing, it's like when you're flexible with the idea of what a leftist is and you just define it as anybody who opposes a fascist would-be authoritarian, then anybody can be reframed as a leftist. As long as you disagree with me momentarily, which is like this is like the Trump playbook. I just, the point that you made earlier, which is like young, MAGA, I don't even say conservatives, right? Conservative implies a certain kind of ideology that you have to actually stick to, but like young MAGA activists have broken away from any sort of like ideological discipline about anything. And so it becomes just nearly impossible to actually debate on any real terms that are not tribal. Like, you don't look like me, ergo you're not part of this, so your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, but half of the Nazis are Hispanic. That's what's also crazy about this is like there are so many prominent neo-Nazis on Twitter and whatnot, and they're just like straight up Mexican from Mexico. I don't even know how that happens. Like, I guess I do understand it, but like, modern fascism has become so much more diverse.
How much do you think about this? Like, this is just about power. It's about feeling comfort with being on the side of power. I mean, I just like, I think a lot about bullies generally. I think you probably experienced your fair share of it. I did when I was a kid. And more often, like the guys who are around the bully are not there because they generally agree with the bully. They're there because there's a comfort in having a proximity to the most powerful person in the room that they perceive as powerful. Yeah. And most of the time, like if you want to beat a bully, you actually don't try and beat his seconds. What you try to do is you show him to be not as powerful as he thinks, or you disempower him. And then you try and win over the folks around him, right? By trying to show them that there's another way. And I just think that like so much of this is just about actually like a comfort with power and a fear, not even comfort, it's a fear of power and what power can be done against you. Especially if you're like a Mexican dude and you're like engaging in this fascism. It's just like, hey, maybe if I'm like nice to the fascist won't come and get me. You know, I've been thinking a lot about that. And I think that part of the frustration I have with the Democratic Party is we do this thing with Trump where we venerate his power. He's such a bully. And you're like, yes, okay, what you're showing is he is more powerful than you, and you want to make an appeal to people who care about power on the principle of ideals. And that's just not going to work. Like, you have to take him on straight up, and you got to play the same game. And then this is the frustration I have with it, is when you
That's why the weird narrative was so good.
These guys are just weird.
Well, it's true. These guys are just weird.
I mean, we're a lot of things. We're not weird, I will tell you. But that guy is weird, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, because it took
away that power.
It cut away, especially because he was powerless at that time because he wasn't the president. So making him a laughing stock was such a perfect way to disarm exactly what you're talking about. Like the idea that this is like an all-powerful, scary entity, because that's what they rely on.
Right. And then the other part of it is like, you got to take away his power, but then we talk about fighting, but a lot of folks who talk about fighting first of all, you don't talk about fighting, you just do it. And second, fighting's ugly. It's brutal. There's like carnage. And the hard part is our own Democratic base will punish you for doing the thing to disempower him that you need to do to show what he is to his own supporters. And that's a really tough nut to crack, right? Like when you go after him and you use the same language against him that he uses against everybody else, people are like, well, that's unbecoming of a politician. You're like, what the, like, take a look at what our politics have become.
I don't think that's as big as a force as it used to be. I think because we live in the Trump universe now, and Trump is like genuinely reshaped politics, I don't think it matters as much because you got wine moms demanding
go get them
that politicians die. Like they literally are saying, go out and get shot by ICE. I don't care what you do. You need to put an end to this. So I feel like at this point, even the base is up in arms and is very angry at the lack of response from the rest of the Democratic Party, and are demanding change and are demanding that they actually do something, anything.
Yeah.
I've seen so many Debras and Barbaras, just like white wine moms, demanding that people do something. Like their Democratic politicians, their Democratic representatives, like go out and fight and even put their lives on the line, like put their lives at risk. That's where we're at now. So I don't think the vulgarity is as, I'll say it like this. It's only as important as you make it. I mean, you're running for Senate. I keep pointing to the Zoran rule because there were so many instances. I mean, he's a not very well-known guy. He's running for mayor in an incredibly crowded field with people who have much longer track records in New York politics. And he is uncompromisingly an anti-Zionist. And he spent a lot of time criticizing Israel in his activism before he went into local office and even after he was in local office. And so many people kept consistently saying, oh, he's anti-Semite, like vicious smears, lies. Oh, he's an anti-Semite. And look, you're 40. You remember a time where I suspect if you had any opinion that was remotely critical of Israel and you got branded an anti-Semite, that was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Whether it be in politics or even in media. Because I remember I've been doing this for 10 years now. And in that process, like it was a death sentence for my career as well if I were to like ever get branded an anti-Semite for my anti-Israel position. But Zoran showed that obviously you can still win on that front without ever compromising on those values at all, especially because like a lot of people also agree with you on this.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is you don't have to actually back away, and it's only as important as you make it. If you turn around and you go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I hurt people's feelings," or whatever, only then do you breathe fire into this. And it also showcases insincerity, in my opinion. Because like to back away from a position that you hold near and dear to, like if you're a Medicare for All guy, this is a big part of your this is a big part of why you're running for office.
It's the reason I got into politics.
Yeah. If you were to back away from that and be like, well, you know, maybe we do need, you know, private healthcare or whatever, then people would turn around and be like, okay, well, why am I voting for you? You know what I mean? Like it would be incredibly disingenuous.
You know, the interesting thing is, like, I grew up fighting quite a bit. Right? I went mainly to schools where I didn't have many folks who looked like me or had names like mine. So I grew up in elementary school. I remember the first time I got my lunch taken from me by a bully. And for the rest of that year, we just moved into that town. The rest of that year, I didn't eat lunch. The next time I moved, I told my dad, I was like, listen, I'm going to get sent home early. And I was like, why? I was like, just trust me on this one. So first kid who came up to me, made fun of my name, I smacked him. And I kept smacking him until they had to pull me off of that kid. And that kid never messed with me again, right? And I'm not looking to start fights, but I'll end them. And the interesting thing is, like, most of my life, right, has been trying to pull away from the instinct of saying, when you see a bully, take them on, into a more high-minded engagement. It's funny because in this moment in politics, it's like, actually, we need you to be a fighter again. I'm like, are you all ready for that? Because, like, I'm an Arab dude named Abdul, right? People don't look kindly on Arab dudes named Abdul who look like me, right, fighting. But there's a question that I have right now, which is to say, what does it mean to be a fighter on behalf of peace? Like that's a question I've been asking quite a bit, because like a lot of folks in the Democratic Party, their whole brain is like, I'm a fighter and I'm going to beat Trump for you. We're going to fight back. And part of me is just like, actually, nobody fights to win the war. You fight to win the peace. I'm just, I'm not interested in being a bully. I'm interested in stopping the bully from bullying. You know what I mean? And I think that question of like how much you're able to do that, particularly as a guy who looks like you or a guy who looks like me, right? In a place where we've had 20 years of people being told that people who look like you and I are dangerous implicitly. That's a question that I'm trying to think a bit about, which is like, there's the real part of my personality, which is hopeful and excited about the things that we can do together. That's a real part of my personality. There's also part of my personality is like, step to me and watch what happens, right? And the question of like how much of yourself you can actually bring to a political conversation or you're allowed to bring is interesting. And it may just be that in this moment, right, folks are so sick and tired of the Donald Trumps, the JD Vances of the world, that I'm actually allowed to be my whole personality. I'm allowed to be both the hopeful, ideologically focused in public health expert that I am, and also, right, the kid who grew up scrapping to make sure that like nobody was being picked on in the schoolyard. And that's always the question I'm thinking a lot about.
Yeah, look, as a politician, your policies are your punches at the end of the day. So I think that the way you present yourself, the way you carry yourself, or how hard you fight with those policies will show people who you have the best interest in mind.
Yeah.
A lot of politicians will care about lobbyist funds. They'll care about the corporate structure that they are there to basically uplift and defend. I mean, in a weird way, Trump did this very well. Like, he is a bully. He's brash. He's rude. He's awful. But he was able to make it seem, at least to his base of support, that he was a bully for
them.
Them, right? And that I think played a very meaningful role in people still to this day holding on to this idea that like Trump has their best interests in mind.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of politicians on the left could could learn from that kind of behavior.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like you want to be ideas driven. Like I'd love to just, if the whole campaign came down to one debate, I'll debate anyone on anything, anywhere, right? And as an ideas driven candidate who wants you to have healthcare and wants you to have to pay less and doesn't want you dominated by a corporation either in the workplace or in the marketplace, like I know our ideas win. The question though is that so much of politics right now, especially now, are transacted on your screen, usually on your phone. You know what I mean? And one of the things that I think we're learning a lot about is, you think about the degree to which a lot of the politicians who are succeeding right now have a background in entertainment, right? There is a certain like engagement with the camera, whether it's Donald Trump and his time on television, or Zoran was a rapper before he went into politics. I think the question of like, how do you engage with folks and get them to be thinking about your ideas in a way that doesn't talk down to them and is transacted in the conversation of the moment, like on the medium of the moment. I think that's the tough part. And your point, right, is like those policies are punches. But Donald Trump never actually had policy, right? He had a narrative. Like he never really, I build the wall, I guess was his original policy point.
He did have policies that matter in the sense that I would go so far as to say he had the only type of policies that get passed around in American politics nowadays, which is culture war.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats have completely dropped any notion that they are interested in improving the material conditions of the American working class. So the only war that is waged in this back and forth political football between the two parties is waged on the virtues of culture war agendas. And since Newt Gingrich, like the Republicans have basically expertly crafted every single culture war agenda item that they will always win on, because they spend every waking moment propagandizing and manufacturing outrage for certain things that aren't real problems at all. And then they are seen as the only people who can offer a solution to the problems that they created. And they do that by lying.
Yeah.
There is no undocumented migrant crime.
Yep.
That's like not a real, that is in the margins. That's not a real problem for Americans. This isn't to say that undocumented migrants are not responsible for any crime whatsoever. They're not, of course, they're human beings. Yeah. Some human beings are going to do crimes no matter what.
But our system picks it up and tabulates it in the same way it tabulates any
exactly.
crime. Yeah.
And not only that, but also there is data available on this, and it shows that undocumented migrants are responsible for less crime per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens are.
And that makes sense because you're like a lot more to lose.
Yeah. Like they are purposely avoidant of law enforcement. They don't want to ever be in a situation where they violate any rule or law where they could potentially be deported. So turns out they do less crime than natural-born U.S. citizens do. And not only that, but also the ones who do engage in crime, of course, are getting subsequently arrested, charged, convicted, and then potentially jailed or deported, depending on the severity of the crime. And yet Trump has been able to so expertly craft this narrative throughout the Biden administration that, like, what, cops were going up and being like, oh, are you, you're a rapist, we caught you. Oh no, you're Guatemalan. Well, you're free to go. Like that was the argument that they were able to successfully create. And the only reason why they were able to create this argument successfully was because there was no counter messaging from the Democratic Party that said, this is a lie, this is wrong.
Yep.
And that migrants make these communities better, and they're a formative part of the American economy, and they give so much more than they even get back.
Yeah,
in return.
To your point, we're not even driving forward on forget a counter narrative. Too often, the Democratic Party doesn't even have a narrative it's pushing. I mean, the crazy thing to me is like, you ask people about the biggest challenges they face when it comes to affordability. The most brutal form of those challenges is healthcare affordability. It's like you're stuck paying way too much and you have to worry about falling into debt just to go see a doctor because you got sick. And like, we're not willing to talk about it in large part because we don't have a solution, right? That isn't going to take on a lot of the same corporations that are giving checks to Democrats. And so we just stay silent. So like, it's like Donald Trump has this narrative that starts with the problems that you have and then ends with immigrants. Can't afford a house, immigrants took your house. Can't afford healthcare, immigrants took your healthcare. Don't have a job, immigrants took your job. And like, we need to have a counter response, which is, hey, can't afford a home? Well, it's probably speculation by very large corporations. Can't afford healthcare? Well, it's because very large corporations plied your politicians full of their money and made sure that you had to keep paying more to go see a doctor, and that priced you out. Oh, you're worried about your job? Well, corporations have bought each other up to the point where you get your wages suppressed, and you're paying more for the things that you have to buy from them. Yeah. And like, we're not willing to actually have that conversation, in large part because too often Democrats are taking checks from those exact same corporations. So we're mum, and then we're just saying we're not him, as if that's like going to be the thing when 50% of the country voted for him. Like, you got to win those people back.
Yeah. One other way that I do this when I go on like Theo Von or whatever is to explain very simply that like a trans person is not your landlord. You know what I mean? Like your rent is going up because your landlord's putting your rent up. And it's not a trans person that did that. It's not an undocumented migrant that is your boss that is not letting you take time off from work because your family's sick.
Yeah.
That's your boss. This is capital. This is an expression of the power that capital has on your life. And Republicans use vulnerable populations as a distraction expertly to be like, oh, this is, trans people are doing this. Undocumented migrants are doing that. Pay attention to that. And not the people who are robbing you blind. And I think that's like, that's why you see this resentment now against Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. Initially, it was his most popular provision. And now that it has unfolded, the violence has unfolded and people can see it, masked thugs doing dragnet operations and job sites to arrest and subsequently ship off some of the most productive members of our communities, our neighbors, ripping them away from their families and then shipping them into facilities in CCOT in El Salvador. That has caused a lot of enmity and a lot of resentment even against the Trump administration and the agenda of the anti-immigrant agenda, because people saw how violent this was. And they come to that recognition, but someone needs to steer them in that direction. And that's why we need good leadership. That's why we need better communicators. That's why we need better leaders in the Democratic Party that can actively look at the moment and say, look, they're firing people. They're firing people with Doge. Like a billionaire basically ran his hand through every regulatory agency and fired tens of thousands of federal government employees that have like some of the last remaining good middle income jobs.
That and also like expertise that you can't get back.
Yeah, expertise that you can't get back. And at a time of like unprecedented crisis, you got planes falling out of the sky. There's not enough ATC, air traffic controllers. Food quality, food standards are going down. We are gutting the FDA.
And meanwhile, we just funded an agency that is literally ripping babies from moms. Now I'll say this, like I got two little girls, all right, 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. And there's something about the visceral want for a child for their parent that our taxpayer dollars are literally ripping children from their parents. Now, look, the crazy thing about this is just kind of go back to where we started on this. I don't know what definition of masculinity says that you can tear moms from babies, right? And these people who tell you they're so damn masculine, right? What the is taking a baby from a mom? How is that doing that in the name of our country? And the crazy thing is, these kids oftentimes, they're American citizens. Like the idea that we should take their mom and deport the mom to a different country to protect American citizens when you literally just took the mom away from an American citizen child is insane.
But they want to take that away too. That's why he wants to ban birthright citazenship, because the idea is that like these guys are not American citizens. They're not real full-fledged American citizens.
But even just to like let yourself allow that. Like, I mean, anybody who's ever felt the tug of like a child, like to let yourself do that. I mean, and take JD Vance for a second, right? Like take Donald Trump, like he's so pickled that it probably doesn't matter, right? His like essential narcissism won't let him see other people's pain. JD Vance knows better, right? I read Hillbilly Elegy. There is, to be able to write that, you have to have some empathy in your core.
Nah, he's a more vicious kind of evil.
I think he's just willingly killed that part of himself.
No, that part of himself was like expertly crafted to basically present himself to liberals as like the white working class whisperer.
I don't know, man. He has kids though, man. Like part of me just wants to be able to say, like,
he has kids.
You got kids, man. Imagine somebody did that to like literally took your kids away from their mom.
I know, but the Doge thing, right? There was one of the Doge guys was like some insanely racist guy who said like, we need more Indian hate. It's not enough. Deport all Indians, right? JD Vance His wife is Indian.
Yeah,
His kids are Indian. JD Vance came out and defended that guy. So he is just like a perfect sociopathic charlatan, brown noser. We got our own version of that on the Democratic Party side too. But I think that kind of like soulless monster that can take up whatever shape necessary to like win is even more terrifying than like a real honest racist. And a real honest racist is still terrifying.
Still pretty terrifying. Here's my question though, man. Like, is it? I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, look, I'm running for U.S. Senate. I put my life on hold. I don't have a full-time job right now. Like, if I win the race, I'm gonna get a $50,000 pay cut, right? But like, I just don't understand what's worth it about it. You know, I'm like, if you're not using the job to do a thing that's like meaningful for people, that you can see people and be like, oh, you're categorically happier now because of what I'm doing, and your life is easier, and there's more joy and meaning.
Well, they make a lot of
proximity.
money on the side. Like they do.
But like, there's better ways to make money. Like JD Vance, like JD Vance made money. He doesn't need money. I just don't understand.
Power.
Like, but like, to what end? Like, what the fuck is the point of having power if you're not actually making people's lives better? I really like, I actually struggle to understand that. Maybe like makes me a bad politician. But sometimes when I look at some of these people, I'm like, so you have this seat and you have a bunch of people who I guess like look at you, you get to go to a chicken dinner where the food's not even that great. I mean, we had much better chicken here today than most of the chicken dinners. And you're waiting for some MC to say your name so you could stand up and wave to the crowd and people clap for you. Like, I don't understand what the value of all this is if you're not actually making people's lives better in ways that you can see. I don't get it. Like, I truly just don't get it. And I mean, enough people want it so that there's something there, but maybe you got some insight on it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think they like the social status and the endless prospect of wealth that they get from it, because you're in with like incredibly wealthy people, and you are the first line of defense for incredibly wealthy people and their interests. So you automatically join the ruling class. And
I mean, you are the ruling class, but like, rule for what? And then you die. You know, part of me is just like, look, at the end of the day, you're only going to have it for so long.
They're not thinking about it like that. I'm just saying, like, I think it's just, it's ambition, and it's a way to like calcify your legacy. There's plenty of reasons. They're all bad. None of them are for good reasons. They're not there to improve people's lives, for sure. Like, they're not there to actually help others. And it's very obvious. And I would say the same for like a lot of Democrats as well. I mean, this is the entirety of the Republican Party. We saw that with the incredible tax cuts that they just passed. And on the other side of those tax cuts, in order to not trigger too many deficit alarmists, they did some complicated math where they decided, well, these tax cuts are already built in, even though they were supposed to sunset. And then two, they were like, well, in order for the additional taxes, we have to cut Medicaid. We have to cut SNAP, hurting some of the poorest working class individuals in American society.
At least with the Medicaid, like, there's no defending the Medicaid cuts, but like, they're built. I mean, this is a crazy thing. Let's just one aside here. We just had this whole Doge premised on this idea that you're going to fire these unnecessary government workers. They're literally going to build death panels inside Medicaid. They're going to hire a whole army of people whose goal it is to check your paperwork to make sure you got all the necessary paperwork to keep you on Medicaid, right? But like, SNAP is just
not even. They're not. The whole purpose is to flood people with paperwork so they can say, sorry, you don't have the proper paperwork.
That's right.
And then they can, again, AI is perfect for this because it's not supposed to work efficiently. It's supposed to be wrong and broken. That's precisely the reason why United Healthcare, which was like the number one at denial of care, was utilizing AI before the untimely demise of the CEO, Brian Thompson, which we disavow and, of course, condemn.
You know, it's interesting, man. We spend all this time, you talk about all the complexities, and look, it's extremely complex. But in some respects, it's like, I studied complicated things. And politics is just not that complicated at the very core. It's like, you want to elect good people who want to do good things for other good people. You know, and if your politics aren't doing that, at some point we like kid ourselves with these complex ideologies, and not ideas, just ideologies, to try and back justify why it's okay to have some bad people in positions of power. And then it attracts a lot more bad people because we've created the intellectual architecture that justifies it. And, you know, it's like, sometimes when I'm crisscrossing the state, there's some, like, I walk out of a town hall, and somebody will share something with you. I mean, this is very similar to like the practice of medicine. People will share really vulnerable things with you. And they're just like, can you please help me with this? And you're like, I'm going to do my best to try. And then you walk out of there, and some days, like, honestly, like I struggle to fall asleep because I'm like, if this person only knew just how malevolent the people who are making decisions on their behalf have become and just how little they care, like it would crush this person. And you got to like hold that and like live with that. And I don't know, man, I just hope that like, if I do get elected, part of me just says like, it's like keeping that simplicity and keeping like a foot to the ground. Cause I don't ever want to start getting myself in this position where like, well, if you do that and you do this other thing, then maybe you can get to more power. So then you could do more good things. And then soon enough, you never actually do the good things you thought you wanted to do.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
how, what's the term? There was the Silicon Valley guys that built this ideology around it, effective altruism.
Yeah.
It's that principle. It's like, oh, I have to be the singular force of power and get as much money as possible so I can do the right things and I can manage this wealth and power and prosperity much better than like the average citizen can.
It's like the Thanos argument.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Newsflash: the conservatives are liberal to me. Okay, that's how far to the right I am. Do you understand my position?
When someone says like Democrats are nowhere near as left enough for me, I'm like, oh hell yeah! Like finally a reasonable person. When someone says the modern iteration of the Republican Party is nowhere near as hard right enough for me, I'm like, what more do you want? Do you want to line up every person and have like a color blocker and see like if they go beyond a certain point of pale, they just get 360 no scoped? Like, what do you want? They're already doing everything that you want. Like this administration is doing virtually everything that these guys want, and they still want more. I don't understand. Do you want to like go back to the old school Nazi attitudes of being like, well, the Slavs are also not white? Like, is that what we're doing? Is that because this administration is giving or pretty much everything that these guys wanted,
except for the Epstein files.
Well, that
I want to ask him about the Epstein.
No, but I just don't. I don't understand. Like, oh God, conservatives are so spoiled. I wish I could like live in a world where you know my representatives on my side of politics was giving me a fraction of what I wanted with the same severity that like conservatives will offer them everything. Because it's not like they're running on material change in the positive direction. They're running on tax cuts and deregulation. These guys are too stupid to recognize that doesn't actually help them in the short term nor in the long term. But like they are promising that and they're delivering on that. And then on top of that, it's all culture war shit. And they get all of the culture war shit.
This is the thing about though. They've decoupled the conservative movement from MAGA. Like this guy could care less about actual conservatism. He doesn't have a real fiscal perspective. He doesn't think critically about this issue.
I don't think conservatives have had that either for a long time. I think MAGA is the logical conclusion of years and years of modern conservatism.
In the internet era, yes. I think like if the internet never came about, like, and we didn't have this complete splitting and algorithmic like amplification of certain, like some of the worst shit, I think we might have avoided this. But you're right. Like what this guy comes for is the tribalism. That's what he comes for, right? And I actually think that like there are a lot of conservatives who have felt some kind of way about like the implicit racism on the culture war side of traditional conservative, like the conservative party baking. And I think in some respects now it's just decoupled and they're all trying to like figure out how to roll together. And this guy could care less about like, I frankly, I don't think I could care less about tax cuts, right? He's just in it for tribalism. And that's why he says like, I don't know why you're doing all this other stuff.
Sure. That's why you see some of the populist right, like the Tucker Carlson wing, that say that they care about, like even Josh Hawley that says that he cares about like defending people's benefits. Yeah. But when push comes to shove, they don't.
You're right. They don't.
And they don't get punished for it either by their base, because ultimately they do actually love latching on to all the racist shit. And they're like, okay, well, as long as I'm getting the racist stuff, then it's fine. I think that this has always been at the heart of conservatism in general. And I don't mean like the Republican Party, or just mean like conservative, like reactionary politics in general revolves around this kind of notion that like there is an in-group and they must dominate the out-group. The out-group is both weak and strong at the same time. That must be brought to heel. And this is just like the logical conclusion of decades of success for the conservative movement. This is like the post-Reagan era.
Yeah, this is what Gingrich had in mind.
Yeah, I mean, this is the post-Reagan era of conservatism because, like, that was if the New Deal Democrats reigned supreme from FDR onwards, and then, like, I guess the death of that movement was finalized under the Carter administration, and then Ronald Reagan changed discourse into the right direction, where now the Democrats were following the Republicans on messaging. This is the logical conclusion to MAGA.
I gotta ask you, quick macro check.
What?
How much chicken do you do?
12 ounces.
12 ounces. How much? What's your like protein per day? The goal?
I try today. I'm not going to hit that because like I said, I'm on a severe deficit.
Yeah. I mean, you've been fasting like most.
Yeah, and I've been fasting as well because I've just overate a lot, and I didn't even calculate it while I was overeating. But under normal circumstances, 225 grams of protein.
Yeah, it's good.
But a little bit higher than that usually.
Yeah, I do. I try to go like 180. I probably should be doing a little bit more.
How much do you weigh?
I weigh 210.
Damn, you're dense.
I'm very dense.
Damn,
at
we got 20
5'8".
pounds. We got 20 pounds between you and me. That's crazy.
And he's like literally a whole head off taller than
That's crazy. I'm 6'4". Yeah, you're brolic. Yeah, I eat like I said, I eat like 230 pounds.
That's good. That's good.
Well, and I have noticed in my own body, if I don't eat enough protein, I'm more susceptible to injury.
Yeah.
My recovery is not as efficient. Like that, it's truly important to make sure that you hit your daily protein needs, especially if you're working out and you're active.
You do fiber? Because that's the other big one. Like that's the one that most folks miss. Like, so I
mean, I just had a whole salad.
That's great, but that's actually really good. The key thing is, actually, I'm gonna put it out there: beans, and then psyllium husk based bread. So like I do a keto bread you actually get at Costco. Those things are packed with fiber, but like the big from like health risk standpoint, the biggest probability that you have of death is going to be either by heart attack or now, especially in young people, is colon cancer. We're seeing like a way higher increase in colon cancer. We can't really explain. And the best arguments are around fiber density. So I actually track beyond protein. I track omega-3s and fiber daily, and that fiber one is like the hardest one to hit.
Okay. All right. Oh, also, how much longer do you plan on staying here?
I probably got to roll in like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Because I don't want to keep you.
This guy's got like incredible stamina, man.
I'm gonna keep going. Of course.
I feel like you've been. I mean, so you had your first vacation what years?
Yeah.
Well, how'd that feel, man? Like you wake up and like, how do you feel your day? I mean, I feel
it wasn't even a vacation; it was a weekend.
Fair. I mean,
ironically enough, because I've never even taken a weekend off in years. I literally have not taken 3 days in a row off, with the exception of being banned.
Wow.
I got banned for some comments about American foreign policy, and then got banned again for calling someone a cracker.
I heard about both of these things.
Yeah, anti-white racism, which is really, really damaging. I'm so sorry. But with the exception of those 2 instances, I've never been off stream for more than 2 days ever, and that's usually for travel or I'm doing someone else's stream.
So how did it feel for like 3 days to like not do this?
If I hadn't been drinking so much and eating like a cow, I would have probably felt better, because we did a lot of activities. We did a lot of fun stuff. I flew a fighter jet, a stunt jet, a stunt plane that has all of the movement.
You have pilot's license?
No, I don't.
So how did this? I mean,
America. No, literally, we went to Vegas and they just they let you fly. They literally let you fly a.
That's insane.
Stunt.
So I mean, but somebody else like took off and landed, right?
Yeah, someone else.
Okay,
took
so you
off.
got to like maneuver it in the air.
Yeah. But when you're 5,000 feet in the air, it doesn't matter. Yeah. No, we did dogfighting.
Damn.
So like, I literally flew against another person and shot them with it's like laser tag.
Wow. Did you win?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was sick.
Nice.
Shot some guns. I didn't do
Did you
that
know the other person in the other plane?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was one of them was my cousin.
So
destroyed him.
How did this play relative to the drinking?
We were very hungover. I was very queasy at first. I was like a little worried.
How many G's did you hit?
7.
Damn.
But I didn't.
You didn't splat all over the inside of the plane.
No, I didn't
good.
pass. I didn't pass out. I didn't throw up. There was someone in our party that did throw up, and a couple people passed out. But that's like
in the plane.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope they're not doing G's while because that just sounds like a
No, they were doing G's and they did pass out because like I think there's past a certain point where you will literally pass out unless you're like super well trained. Like I think 10 G's is like they try to hit that.
You know what's interesting? The same bearing down you do when you squat. That's the best way to avoid passing out when you do G's.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait, because maybe that's why I didn't pass out.
Because if you think about it, right, what's happening when you bear down is you're compressing everything so that you can bear the weight, go down and push, and when you push, that everything sort of stays up, right? And you're actually experiencing G's under both like weight under the bar and then weight that you're pushing back up on. So if you build out your core, right, what you're experiencing when you do G's is literally all your blood pooling down because the gravity's working on your blood, right?
Yeah.
And so if you've got a strong core and you're used to pushing, like compressing everything down.
That's what they told me. They told me like flex your core and your legs and your quads.
It's the same bear down. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. I mean, I'm also like being 230. If you hit 10 G's, you're like 2,300 pounds.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was exhilarating. It was a great experience.
Awesome, man. I got to figure out how to like do this. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Cranking the yoke and then just like having that immediate response of like pulling it back and then like your face sinks in all of a sudden is exhilarating. It's like it's way more fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I was
coasters.
Super guilty for liking Top Gun. Because I was just like this.
Well,
I'm like the whole movie's about the war machine.
I know, but I mean, it's a great movie. Who cares?
It was a great movie. I was super entertaining. But like flying a fighter jet sounds awesome. I'm glad you got to do that, man. That's great. Like you spent your day. I feel like you made up for the lost time on vacation.
Yeah,
but
and then we did we did trophy truck racing too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Baja, that was cool too. But like after the plane experience and doing like stunts. Because I was like barrel rolling, you know, and I was upside down on the plane. Like I'm, trying to chase after the other plane so I can hit it from behind. After the adrenaline rush of that, the Baja racing was nothing. I was just like, I didn't even feel anything.
I usually look over and see Hasan's face is just
I was cranking it. I was slamming the accelerator, trying to get as much height as I possibly could off of these like sand dunes, but it wasn't doing it. It wasn't doing it for me. I feel like
you should have done that and then gone to the plane. Yeah, you got to kind of architect these things. Dopamine, man, is a hell of a drug. Once you max out on it, everything else is.
So before we let you go, how can people help? How can people lend support if they liked what you had to say here? And what are you looking from? Like, what are you in need of right now?
Yeah, so I'm in a competitive primary. It's going to be a long race. The election. In the general election is November of 2026, and the primary is August of 2026. But we're building a movement. So I hope folks will do a couple things for me. First, go follow us on socials, right? At Abdul El-Sayed on TikTok, on unfortunately X, on Instagram. I hope that if you like what I'm sharing, that you'll promote us. And then go to abdulforsenate.com. I don't take corporate money. I never have. I'm the only Democrat in this. I'm only candidate in this race who never has. And yet, we fundraise in the top 10 of all campaigns in the last quarter, Democrat or Republican, because we do this the old-fashioned way. So folks want to chip us off $5, $10, something a little bit more. I hope that you'll consider doing that. That's abdulforsenate.com. Hasan, it was awesome to get to meet you. Like literally, I got to like Hasan and I have been texting, but we never met. Obviously, we've watched a ton of your stuff. So like I literally roll in the front door, roll right onto the mic. I'm like, all right, we're doing this. So this was a lot of fun, man.
Trial by fire.
I love it, man. I really appreciate you making the space and the time. Next time I'm in town, what we got to do is we got to get a lift together.
Oh, for sure.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for
coming
coming on.
Thank you again. All right. Just because I don't want to be a bad guest, where should I put this?
Here, I got it. Don't worry.
Sure?
I'm going to throw it out right now.
And you mind if I use your
it's
facilities on
first
the way?
left
All right,
when
friends.
you get out. Thank you.
See you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Abdul for Senate, Abdul El-Sayed.